so good. I can't believe I haven't heard that one before. It's been on my request list for a really long time. Okay, for those who just joined me, because now I have 13 people here. I started out with one. Ben was the first person here. It happened to be Ben was the one that commented today. He goes, hey, when are you going to do Phish again? I was like, you know what? He's right. But I kind of know why I didn't, if you must know, because I got a little teary-eyed as I was listening to this. It brought me back to my first concert, which was exactly a month ago. It was April 22nd and 23rd, and today's May 23rd. And you know what? A month without Phish is a month too long, honestly. I know that sounds cheesy, but like after seeing them live, I couldn't stand to listen to the recordings because it was such an amazing experience that I didn't want to like poison the memory with like a recording. Does that make sense? Because I like was just like living in that post-Phish concert high kind of thing. And so I actually didn't, that's why I started, if you noticed, I like went on to Billy Strings, I went on to Grateful Dead, I went on to Goose, right? I kind of did all this other stuff. Part of that was because I was still living in that post first Phish concert high, and I didn't really want to listen to anything. Yeah. Do you know, did you get it? Like, did you get it? Okay, so like when I listened to this today, I felt so many emotions. I was also taken back to my first concert, and I just remember being in the room and like feeling the energy. And even though I wasn't at Madison Square Garden on December 31st of 2010, I was actually thinking about during this thing, I was like, oh, where was I on New Year's of 2010? And honestly, it wasn't that exciting. As I recall, I had a 9-month-old at the time, and I think she had an ear infection. I remember being in and out of like urgent care over those holidays. So I was like, okay, like I was not at Madison Square Garden. It would have been fun to be at Madison Square Garden, but back then I had an infant, and my infant is now 15 years old. So that's definitely an interesting, like, whoa, what a different world, you know? Like if you could have been in a different place. So what a great jam. My favorite part, well, I liked so much of it, I can't even go through it. But there was a, like of this, there was like, there was a lot of D major going on for a long time. I like that the jam got really fast. You guys were right, because you guys have heard this before. You were right about them being so locked in on this. Was this like a finale, perhaps? Like, was this the end of a set? Because it just sounds like that in the sense that how much it built. It just reminds me of more of like the end of a Phish set where it just builds, and then because they're not going into something, they can just have like this like grand finale. Maybe I'm right, maybe I'm wrong. That would be my guess, that it ended a set, but maybe I'm wrong. But yeah, I really liked it. I had never actually heard Ghost unless they played it while I was at my concert, and I forgot because I totally forgot my set list. I just remember some of them, but I liked it. It was very like funky. It was very groovy. You know, it's like dum bum 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 dum bum bum. I was like, okay, it's a groove. You know, dum bum dum. Yeah, very like groovy kind of song, and I like that. Yeah, I liked it. And then the light change, yeah, I like that. So yeah, their whole thing, and you're right, Paige was great on this. He played all sorts of different keyboards. There was like synthesizers. Mike sounded great. Fishman was on fire. But I loved when they pulled back the tempo to come out of the... This is my favorite part. They're like going so fast. It's so intense. See the piano? It's so intense. They're all on top of each other. They've all built. They're like doing all the like... It sounds kind of... not cacophony because they're all playing in D major, but it just sounds like a lot going on at once, like a symphony of sound. And then... Then they start to bring it down. I like that. He did. You know what that is? That's a pentatonic scale. I always talk about pentatonic scales. But that's what they do. It's a safe bet. Playing a pentatonic scale is just a very safe bet to not clash, and you're going to probably be in the right key area if you just play with a pentatonic scale. So I think that's why they do it a lot, and it just has that open sonorous sound, because pentatonic scales don't have any half steps in them. That's what Paige was doing. Okay, look. hear that? Pentatonic scale. Oh, hi, Day of the Dream. Hi, for those who've just joined, yes, I am. This is the agenda for tonight. We've just finished Phish Ghost. Next is Grateful Dead, China, Cat, Sunflower, 19, I Know You Writer. Then we're doing Widespread Panic, Space Wrangler, 2008 Austin, and then Goose, Thatch, CBS Morning. I chose this Goose because it's at the end of the show and it's short. And everyone kept being like, every Goose fan, to justify themselves, they're kind of insecure. It's true. Everyone was like, they were just on CBS News. I'm like, I don't care. Like, they were just on CBS News. I literally had 15 people tell me, like, they were just on CBS News. I'm like, fine, then let's listen to the CBS News thing, if that's all you guys talk about, okay? Okay? But we're going in this order. So, all right, any other comments on Phish Ghost 12/31/10 before we go on to the Grateful Dead? Because I have some forward. I have a little speech to give before we get into the Grateful Dead. Okay, so if you've been following my Grateful Dead journey, I have 3 full videos of reactions. I did Touch of Grey. I did this Help Is on the Way, blah, 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 something, whatever, 1989. And then I did Terrapin Station studio version. And so then I had this whole episode just about me reading the comments from all my Grateful Dead mentors. And some people are being really nice, and then some people are being like, the Dead just aren't for you. But I will say, more than anything, this was the most recommended piece. If I like search through every single comment, and I can actually use YouTube, like Google search features in my YouTube comments to search for things, and I looked up this China Cat Sunflower, literally at least 5 people told me to listen to this 1972 China Cat Sunflower into Writer. Okay, so this has been the most requested. Yeah, you're right. The lyrics to Ghost are, yeah. So this is our last little thoughts on Phish for now, because we are moving on to the Grateful Dead. Sad, because I loved the Phish so much. Did you see how much I lit up with it? Did you see how happy I was? Did you see how much it brought me back to Bill Graham a month ago? And yes, for those who just joined, I was saying, if you noticed in my whole journey, right? I had all this build up to the Phish concert, and it was like the first thing I ever went to, and then I go and I do this whole thing and I do a recap and I do this stuff. And then if you notice, I didn't do any Phish reactions after that. I talked about my concert experience, but then I didn't do any more Phish reactions. I had like 15 Phish reactions leading up to the concert, and then I had 0 after. And what I was just saying as I was reacting live is that I couldn't handle listening to a recorded version of Phish because I was too sad that I wasn't able to experience that again. Does that make sense? Yeah. Okay, I agree, but it will be based on the fan base, okay? I agree, but this is going to be a live version. Yeah, but this is like a live version, and this is a banger. I mean, today's show is a variety show. This is like the first one. If you guys want this to become a Phish-only podcast, I'm happy to do that. I just need to plan that, and we need to have like a set time that people join the live so that I have a lot of people interacting, because it's more fun when there's people in the chat, I've been recording all my videos at home and then putting them up. But for now, I'm just going to do this, like, look, this is a very variety Phish, Grateful Dead, Widespread Panic, Goose. This is a very like, jam band variety show tonight, but I'm happy to do like a Phish only episode in the future. I'm happy to do like a full concert or something, like, a full show. I don't know if I can like go without skipping through, because it's like 2 hours, 3 hours. But I'm happy to do any of this. We just have to organize it, and we just have to have the right audience here. It's all about who's on the chat, right? So if we have all the Grateful Dead people, I'm not going to do Phish. If I have all the Phish people, I'm not going to do Grateful Dead, right? So I'm just saying I have to know who's here and what people are interested in. But